Would you ever buy a Toyota Prius? See, when you make a decision to buy a hybrid, you've kind of given up on fun. The Prius has always been about showing others that you care about trees, Mother Nature, and things like plush green grass and butterflies. Driving a Prius lets you be a little pretentious while letting all non-hybrid drivers know that you're just destroying the planet at a slower rate than they are. It's never been about looking good and going fast. No one ever looked at one and said, "Hey, cool Prius," until now. My name is Omar and this is the 2023 Toyota Prius. It looks really good and this one can actually go faster than you can walk. Let's check it out. All right, so let's start off with the pricing details so you know what you're working with as we go along on this tour. The base Prius LE starts at $27,450. Now, to get into a nicely equipped one, you want to be at the XLE trim, which starts at $30,895. And then if you want to go all out in a Prius, you can go for the Limited, which starts at around $34,000. Going for all-wheel drive on any trim will cost you an extra $1,400. Now let's talk power and performance. Two words I thought I would never say when talking about a Prius. So you've got a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine mated to a new hybrid system that will give you 194 horsepower for the front-wheel drive model and 196 horsepower for the all-wheel drive model. Now that's a huge jump from the outgoing model's 121 horsepower. That means it no longer takes a full day to go from 0 to 60. The front-wheel drive model will do 60 in 7.2 seconds, while the all-wheel drive model will take 7 seconds flat. The outgoing Prius took around 10 seconds to hit 60, so this is a huge improvement. That said, the Prius Prime, which I will be testing early next year, is even more powerful, making 220 horsepower, and that will do 60 in 6.6 seconds. And don't worry, just because this is more powerful and faster doesn't mean you have to sacrifice fuel economy. In fact, this is the most fuel-efficient Prius ever, with the base front-wheel drive LE trim getting 57 miles per gallon combined. Now, as you go up trim levels or go for the all-wheel drive model, the fuel economy starts to take a hit, but not a big one. The all-wheel drive Prius LE manages 54 miles per gallon combined, which is still very impressive. I mean, this thing is the king of fuel economy, so that should be expected. So yeah, you no longer have to be embarrassed to drive a Prius, and not only because of the upgrades in the performance department, because this thing actually looks pretty good. It's still got a liftback design, but it now sits lower and is a little wider. The 2023 Prius roofline sits 2 inches lower than the outgoing model, and the back is about an inch wider. On the front end, you have a low-slung hood, but the standout design element to me are these LED headlamps and daytime running lights that are standard across the whole lineup. They really give the new Prius a lot of front-end character. Now from the side, you've got some nice creases and body lines, but guess what? You can now get 19-inch wheels on a Prius. The base LE gets 17-inch wheels, but XLE and above, you're working with 19-inch wheels, and they don't look boring. You actually have a nice-looking set of wheels on a Prius right from the production line. That's awesome. Move over to the back, and this is probably my favorite angle of the new Prius. You've got a standard LED taillight light bar that runs across the whole rear end, which every brand is doing these days, and I'm here for it. Here on the Prius, it helps give it a wider stance for sure. But yeah, you've got this big Prius lettering, and right here you have Toyota's Beyond Zero logo. But yeah, let me know what you think about the looks of the new Prius in the comments below. I'm really liking what they've done here. All right, let's check out the cargo capacity. You do have a power lift gate, and you can open it by using a button located right underneath the Toyota logo. And once you get it open, you have a total of 20.3 cubic feet behind this second row, and you have 60/40 split rear seats if you need some more loading capacity. All right, so let's check out the interior of the new Prius, and once you get in here, you'll see that Toyota has really stepped up their game. This no longer feels like an economy hybrid. There's a good amount of use of high-quality materials to the upper areas. Of course, once you move to the lower parts, you have some hard plastic, but that's to be expected in this segment. As for comfort, these seats are outstanding. I've been driving this around all day, and I've had no complaints with the amount of support or comfort they provide. And as always, the visibility is pretty solid from the driver's point of view. Now, the Prius XLE and Limited trims get an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat. However, the passenger seat is manually adjustable across all trims. Quick note, the Limited trim will also give you memory settings for the driver's seat as well. As for the heating and cooling game, the base LE gets absolutely nothing. The XLE gets heated front seats as standard, while the Limited gets heated and ventilated seats as standard. Both of those trims also get a heated steering wheel as standard. If you want heated seats in the back, those are optional for an extra $350, and you can only have them if you go for the Limited trim. And while we're back here, let's check out the legroom in the second row. I do want to point out that the rear doors on the new Prius are actually automatic releases. You just put your hand right here and push a button and the door pops open. Not sure why, but that's a thing now. All right, hop in the second row of the new Prius and you're working with about 35 inches of legroom in the second row. I'm about 6 foot tall. That is my seating position. As you can see, I have a good amount of room. This is about 1.5 inches more than the outgoing model. By the way, the new Prius also comes with a fixed glass roof, which is optional on the XLE for an extra grand and standard on the Limited and not available on the LE. Don't get the LE, it doesn't really come with much. That said, I will say one thing. Since the new Prius has a pretty aggressive sloping roofline in the back, headroom does suffer just a bit, and the overall interior feels a little bit more snug. All right, let's hop into the tech for the 2023 Prius. Gone is the giant vertical display and the gauge cluster that used to sit behind it. You now have a cleaner layout to the whole dash with this giant 12.3-inch touchscreen display that houses Toyota's new infotainment system. Keep in mind though that you don't get this larger touchscreen display on the base LE model, and it is optional on the XLE for an extra $610. If you don't go for this massive display, you just get a smaller 8-inch display. However, both get the same infotainment system that we've seen on all new Toyota models. That means you get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto across all trims of the Prius, and again, navigation is optional as a part of a subscription service, which I don't think many people will end up getting because they will just use Apple CarPlay, Google Maps, or Apple Maps. But yeah, overall the system is pretty easy to use and the performance is pretty quick as well. Now moving over to the gauge cluster, I am happy that you now have a gauge cluster right in front of the driver instead of the center like on the outgoing Prius. However, I'm still not a fan of how it's all laid out. Apparently you're supposed to look over the steering wheel and not through it, but in either instance, you're not able to see all the info that's there. Moving on, let's talk driver assist tech really quick. The new Prius comes standard with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, meaning everything is essentially standard. You get adaptive cruise control, lane departure alert, lane tracing assist, so it'll actually stay centered automatically in lanes. You also get a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, roadside recognition, and much, much more. As far as the camera game goes, you're working with the rear view camera as standard across the board. If you want a surround view 360 camera, you'll have to go for the Limited and pay an extra $1,085, and that will also give you advanced park assist. And you can also add on this digital rear view mirror for an extra $200. All right, before I give you my opinion on how the new Prius is to drive, let me point out a few important daily ownership highlights that I'll have to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front right there, and then you have 2 in the back right there in the center armrest. Here are the keys to the new Prius. You have a nice little Prius logo right here on the back. Door close down from the outside. Inside, solid. Charging wise, up front you have 2 USB-C ports right there, and then you have a wireless charger right here, this little slot. Check that out, I just found 2 more USB-C ports in the center armrest. Those sitting in the back have 2 USB-C ports to work with. And of course, let's do an indicator and horn sound test. Indicator first. Now for the horn sound, I'm not expecting much. Yeah, I was right. All right, so let's take the new Prius for a spin, and since this is supposed to be faster, let's just hit it. Not bad. Now, while 0 to 60 in 7 seconds isn't fast, but if you're coming from a 10-second Prius, this will definitely feel faster. You also have a few drive modes to pick from, including normal, eco, sport, and custom. Not sure if any Prius drivers will actually circle through those drive modes, but you have them. That said, how is this as a daily driver? Has the ride quality improved? It definitely has. It feels smoother, it feels more planted than the outgoing Prius, and it almost feels like a step into the luxury segment. Now, while a lot of that has to do with this more premium interior, the ride quality is definitely better. I've been driving this around all day at the first drive event, and honestly, I'm impressed with how more planted and composed it is. It definitely doesn't feel too much like an economy car. Look, you know what you're getting if you're going for a hybrid like the Prius. The ride quality and the drive is definitely suitable from getting you from point A to point B. And this does that, but with the upgrade in performance, it does it a little better. It's sporty, yet still very comfortable. Handling-wise, it's as responsive as a car in this segment needs to be. I mean, no one driving a Prius is going to really let loose and start racing at red lights. Nonetheless, it's quite nimble, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it still weighs around 3,000 pounds. No Prius tops more than 3,300 pounds. I'm just glad they gave it the performance because it definitely needed that. You don't really expect a Prius to move like this or give you enough power to switch in and out of lanes on the highway. But yeah, I will say that the real experience comes from the upgraded cabin. The improved visibility and the giant glass roof really open up the cabin for a calmer driving situation. Here are the top 5 things that I like about the Prius. You've got a really nice exterior design, a more premium cabin that's much more comfortable, the ride quality is smoother. 4, you've got outstanding fuel economy, and number 5, you finally have more power. Now, 5 things that I don't like about it is the gauge cluster. I feel like it's too far and you can never find the right positioning for the steering wheel. to see all of the info that's there. You have less cargo capacity with the 2023 model year. Not by much, but it's still less. I wish the legroom was a little bit more. You get 1.5 inches more, but I wish it was a little bit more spacious. I wish you had power seats for the passenger, not just the driver. And that's really it. There's not much more that I don't like. Oh, and the fact that you have to subscribe ticket navigation, that still bothers me. Now, would I pick this over the Corolla Hybrid or the Camry Hybrid? I would definitely get it over the Corolla Hybrid, but if you're looking for a large sedan, the Camry Hybrid is probably a better buy, and I think that gets up to 52 miles per gallon combined. While everyone is gunning it towards electric cars, the Prius is sticking with a simple formula. A gasoline engine combined with an electric motor that works together to double the fuel economy you get from a regular gas-powered car. There's no plugging in and waiting around for the battery to recharge. Most EVs are trying very hard to maintain a range of over 300 miles. The Prius can easily get over 500 miles. I mean, this model right here that I'm driving has been driven around all day, and it still has more than 310 miles left. And that range isn't affected by whether or not if I use the heated seats, the air conditioning, or decide to listen to some music. Not to mention it doesn't drop by half if it's cold outside. With a sleek new exterior design, a more premium interior with upgraded tech, the new Prius is pretty impressive. Honestly, the new Prius is not just a solid hybrid, it's a solid car. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you guys at the next one. Take care. Peace. And again, I don't hate Tesla, but the new Prius looks much better than the Tesla Model 3. I still stand by the fact that the Tesla Model 3 looks like a turtle. This looks much better than the Tesla Model 3.